So problem 1.7, we look at a bond with face value that pays 20 every half year in 20 payments. And at the last payment, it also pays back the face value of 1,000. And then they tell us the first payment is in 3 months, and we're asked, what is the bond worth? Well, first of all, let's try to understand what we're looking at here. So I like to call this part show me the money. And what I mean by that is drawing the payment stream. So if you ever go down to the bank and talk with your advisor or something, always make the dude draw a payment stream for you, or the lady, depending on who it is you're talking to, because it just helps you so much with understanding what's actually going on. So first of all, let's talk about what a bond is. Well, a bond is essentially an IOU between you and someone else. So often it's an IOU that is between you and, for example, the state or the government, where you buy a bond. So you buy it, for example, for a certain amount of money, and that amount of money will then also be the amount of money that essentially you have lent the state or the person that sells you the bond. So for example, if you buy a bond for 1,000, then you get a piece of paper with the contract on it, and that person gets 1,000 from you. And then after a certain number of years, those 1,000 is returned to you when you decide to sell the bond back or whatever goes on. So it's essentially a kind of loan borrowing contract where you're the person who loans the money out if you buy the bond. So we have a bond that pays 20 every half year in 20 payments. So what does that mean? Well, let's take a look at this. It means that every half year, so I will draw half here, 1, and then 1 and 1/2, and so on and so on. So every half year it pays 20. So this will be how much the bond pays every half year. Pays 20, and it does so for 20 payments. So after 2 payments, we have paid at the end of the first half year and then at the end of the first year. So for 20 payments, then we actually continue until year 10, right? And here we have 9 1/2. So here we have 20 payments where it pays unit 20 every year. And then also at the last payment, so at year 10, it pays back the face value of 1,000. So now 1,000 is a lot more than 20. But anyways, the last year, you actually get 1,000 back, the face value of 1,000 back, and then plus the 20 for the last year. Okay. And then we are asked, what is the bond worth now? So what they essentially say is, so goal, find, well, the present value of the bond. Find V of 0. But then here's a catch. Here's a catch. Because then this exercise tells us the first payment is in 3 months. So what does that actually mean? Well, that actually means that we don't want to find V of 0 because we're essentially saying the first payment is in 3 months. Well, the first payment falls here, right? At the end of the first half year. But if it falls in 3 months, that means we're standing here. 1 quarter into the year. So what we want is not to find V of 0. Actually, what we want is to find what the bond is worth now when we're standing 1 quarter into the beginning of the year. So we want to find V of 1 quarter. Now, this is actually not at all as hard as you might think. What we're going to do when we solve this exercise is to discount everything back to time 1/2. So discount everything back to here and then we'll just discount it another quarter year to where we're standing now. And that's not that hard. So how do we do this discounting? So what is the interest? Now it says the yearly interest is 3%. So I is equal to 3%. That's the yearly interest. So what we want to do is we want to discount 1/2 year at a time. When we discount 1/2 year at a time, when discounting 1/2 year at a time, well, what we essentially just look at is we use the discounting factor v to 1/2. So if we discount 2 years, it's v to the second. If we discount a 1/2 year, then it's v to 1/2, right? So now we also know which discounting factor to use. And the reason why it is v to 1/2, it's explained in the whole chapter about fractionated interest, so I would recommend you go look at that. But also, we can also use the argument from the continuous case, where we know that, well, in the continuous case, if we want to discount for a 1/2 year, for example, then we just use the discounting factor e to the minus delta multiplied by 1/2, right? Now this is the continuous case. But then what is this actually? Well, this is e to the minus, and delta is the same as log of 1 plus the yearly interest, and then multiplied by 1/2. And this thing, well, this is just equal to 1 over 1 plus I to the 1/2. Which is also just v to the 1/2. And also intuitively, it makes sense that the discounting factor per 1/2 year jump we use is just v to the 1/2. In the same sense that if we just consider a quarter year, then the discounting factor we use for a quarter year is v to the 1/4. So this was the background for this exercise. In the next part, we will do the calculations.